Hi everyone, this is Cooking with Kurt. Today, my husband Donald and I are going to show you how to make a Tiramisu Meltdown Cake. This is a chocolate chiffon cake soaked in Coffee-Liqueur, surrounded by a light whipped cream frosting, and then topped with a chocolate glaze and curls.
This recipe was requested by a lot of you, and we hope you like this video.
To start, we're going to make the chocolate chiffon layers. Take 6 eggs, and separate them into yolks and whites. Let them come to room temperature about 30 minutes to 1 hour. Preheat your oven to 340 degrees Fahrenheit, then take 2 9-inch round cake pans and line them with parchment paper. Do not grease the pans or the parchment paper. If you have cake strips, soak them in cold water for about 5 minutes. Shake off excess water but do not wring, and place the soaked cake strips around each cake pan. Then prepare 3/4 cup of strong hot coffee, using whatever method you usually do for drinking. Add in 1/2 cup of unsweetened natural cocoa powder and stir it together till the cocoa powder is fully dissolved. Let this come to room temperature. Then take a big mixing bowl and a sieve. Add in 1.5 cups of cake flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Sift these together. Add in the 6 room temperature egg yolks, 2/3 cup of canola or vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of finely grated orange zest, and the prepared coffee chocolate mixture. Beat this together with an electric mixer or by hand just until smooth and well blended. Next, we're going to make a meringue mixture. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add in the 6 room temperature egg whites and 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. With a whisk attachment, mix on medium speed till the mixture looks frothy. When the mixture looks frothy, turn up the speed to medium-high and very slowly add in 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. When all the sugar has been added, turn the speed up to high and continue beating until glossy, stiff peaks are formed. It should look something like this. Then 1/3 at a time, very gently fold this meringue into the chocolate cake batter until it's very well combined and the mixture is smooth. Divide the batter equally into the 2 prepared round cake pans. We're going to bake this in our preheated oven at 340 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 to 45 minutes, or until the surface of the cake springs back when touched lightly at the center. Immediately invert the round cake pans onto wire racks and let it rest for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, it should be easy to lift off the pans and peel off the parchment paper. Let your cakes cool completely to room temperature on the wire racks.
While the chocolate chiffon cakes are cooling, we're going to make the whipped cream filling and frosting. In the clean bowl of your stand mixer, add in 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and an optional 2 tablespoons of dark rum. Then, using a paddle attachment, beat them together till the cream cheese has softened and the mixture is smooth. Stop the mixer and scrape down the bowl for any unmixed cream cheese as needed. While beating on medium speed, slowly add in 3 cups of very cold heavy cream and continue to beat for about 2 minutes until the cream cheese and the heavy cream are combined and uniform. Stop the mixer and scrape down the paddle attachment and the bowl as needed. Then mix for another 1 minute. Switch to a whisk attachment and continue beating on medium-high speed until the mixture forms very stiff peaks. It should look something like this. Leave this frosting in the fridge till you're ready to use it. Just like a tiramisu with ladyfingers, the next step is to make the Coffee-Liqueur cake soak. Take a heat-resistant container, add in a 1/3 cup of boiling water and 2 teaspoons of espresso powder. Mix this up until well combined and let it come to room temperature. Alternatively, you can just prepare 1/3 cup of espresso if you have an espresso machine, or use instant coffee if espresso powder isn't available. When the espresso mixture has cooled down to room temperature, add in an optional 1 tablespoon of dark rum. Mix together to combine and set this aside for now. As we say in all of our recipes, if you prefer not to add alcohol in your cakes, you can just leave out the dark rum from the cake soak and the frosting. There's no need to substitute with anything.
That's right. Now we're ready to assemble the cake. Take a cake board, this is a 10-inch diameter cake board, and place it on a revolving cake stand. Place the first chocolate chiffon layer in the center of the cake board. Using a pastry brush, generously moisten this base layer with half of the Coffee-Liqueur cake soak mixture. Then spread about 1/3 of the whipped cream frosting mixture on top, creating an even and flat layer as much as possible, about 1/2 inch thick of cake filling. Place the second layer of chocolate chiffon on top. Like before, use a pastry brush to moisten this second layer of cake with the remaining Coffee-Liqueur cake soak mixture. Cover the sides of the cake with a thin layer of the white cream frosting, and then the same thing with the top of the cake. Use a bench scraper to smoothen out this thin crumb coat while rotating the revolving cake stand. This thin coat of frosting should catch any crumbs. Place the cake in the fridge for 20 minutes for the crumb coat to firm up a bit, and also place the unused cream frosting in the fridge. When the crumb coat has hardened, apply a final layer of the white cream frosting around the sides of the cake, as well as the top surface. And again, use a bench scraper to smoothen out the surfaces as much as possible while rotating the revolving cake stand. You can use up all the cream frosting at this point. After applying all the icing, this next step is optional. If you have an icing comb, you can create a pattern on the outside surface of the frosting at this point. I'm just using the icing comb to create a pattern around the sides of the cake, but leaving the top of the cake flat. Place this assembled cake in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours for the cream frosting to firm up before pouring on the chocolate glaze.
Speaking of chocolate glaze, we've reached my favorite part of the cake. I love chocolate drizzles, chocolate shells, and chocolate glazes. To make the chocolate glaze, set up a double boiler over simmering water. Add in 4 ounces of semisweet chocolate, which is about a 2/3 cup of chocolate chips. Stir until the chocolate is melted and smooth. Add in 3 tablespoons of coconut oil or butter. Stir until the mixture is smooth and well combined, about 1 minute. Turn off the heat, but keep this mixture lukewarm with the residual steam of the double boiler until you're ready to drizzle it on the cake.
It will solidify as soon as you pour it over the cold cake.
When you're ready to drizzle it on the cake, take the cake out of the fridge and in a disposable piping bag or small Ziploc bag, ladle all of the warm chocolate drizzle into the disposable piping bag or Ziploc bag. Seal it. Cut a small hole at the tip or at one of the corners, and immediately drizzle the chocolate over the edges of the cake and allow it to drip down the sides of the cake. We're spacing the chocolate drips about 1 inch apart. When you've got the chocolate drips all the way around the cake, drizzle the chocolate to cover the entire top surface with a thin layer of chocolate glaze. Note that you might not have to use up all of the chocolate glaze mixture. Then use an offset spatula to smoothen the top surface. Let this rest in the fridge for the chocolate glaze to firm up a bit while we work on the chocolate curls to top the cake with.
For the chocolate curls, Take 2 large sheet pans and put them in the fridge for a minimum of 10 minutes. Set up a double boiler over medium heat. Add in 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, which is about a 2/3 cup of chocolate chips, and stir it around till it's all melted and smooth. Take the bowl off the heat. Take one of the sheet pans out of the fridge and place it upside down on the counter. Pour approximately half of the melted chocolate on it. With an offset spatula, push the chocolate back and forth, spreading it into a thin layer over the cold sheet pan. As you push and spread the chocolate back and forth, you'll see it begin to firm up. Do the same thing with the second sheet pan and the remaining half of the melted chocolate until you have a thin layer of chocolate on both sheet pans. Place these sheet pans in the fridge for the chocolates to set, and also put a bench scraper in the freezer so it's cold when it touches the chocolate. When you think your chocolate is set enough, take 1 sheet pan at a time out of the fridge so the other half of chocolate doesn't warm up while working on the first pan, and with your cold bench scraper at a 45-degree angle, scrape the chocolate with a quick and confident motion. If the chocolate starts to crumble immediately, it means the chocolate is too cold. Let it warm up for 5 to 10 seconds in a warm room or 2 to 3 minutes in a cool room and try again. If the chocolate just clumps into a melted pile onto your scraper, it means it's not cold or set enough. It needs to go in the fridge for another 10 minutes. When the chocolate is just the right consistency, with a quick and confident motion, the chocolate will form curls when you scrape it at a 45-degree angle. This step can be very temperamental, and there's only a small window of time, about 30 seconds to 1 minute in a warm room, or 5 minutes in a cool room, when your chocolate is the right temperature and consistency that it forms curls. So you might have to put the sheet pan back and forth in the fridge multiple times before you get all the curls you want. Try your best not to touch the chocolate with your fingers. I like to handle the chocolate with a bench scraper and a toothpick. With each successful curl, cut the curl off with a bench scraper, and using the bench scraper and a toothpick, lift it onto a parchment paper lined tray. Then repeat the same thing with the second sheet pan. I aim for a total of 20 to 25 curls. Once you have 20 to 25 curls you're happy with, place them in the fridge or even in the freezer on a very hot day till you're ready to use them, as the curls may melt and lose their shape. When the chocolate glaze has set, arrange your 20 chocolate curls on the top surface. I'm placing them around the outer perimeter of the cake, about 1 inch from the edge. Refrigerate the cake overnight for the layers to set, and serve this cake chilled. And there it is, a Tiramisu Meltdown Cake. Chocolate chiffon soaked in coffee liqueur, surrounded by a light whipped cream frosting, and topped with chocolate glaze and curls. Ang sarap!
Yum!
Love that coffee liqueur flavor infused into the chocolate chiffon.
And that whipped cream frosting is so light and airy, it's like eating a tiramisu.
Thank you all for watching. Please let us know in the comment section below if you're planning to make this Tiramisu Meltdown Cake. Send us pictures of your creations on Facebook and Instagram. The links are below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Cooking with Kurt.
And don't forget to click on the bell so you get notified when we post new cooking videos.
Maraming salamat!